Last time on the Autopod Decepticast.
I'd like to welcome to the show Kit and Harper, hosts of More Than Meets the Pod.
Hello.
Hi.
It's us, all the way from sunny New York.
I'm making oatmeal.
Calling this one the Carly High Schooler Highball.
I don't like this already. I'm very nervous.
So first of all, Pig, bumblebees don't make honey.
Harper and I had this exact same argument. He's not a real cop, he's a stripper cop.
He's a strippogram.
What would you do if your friends are all bros?
She's here to get the good pussy.
Maybe.
We pulled up into her driveway, she came out and waved, and we drove off.
Bye, you old bitch.
Short, sweet, and to
Happy
the point.
birthday.
Happy birthday. And as we were saying, she was like, yeah, and turned around and went back inside the house.
We pick back up with our heroes as artillery thief Carly hightails it out of the Ark, hell-bent for leather to make those Decepticreeps pay for hurting Ironhide's feelings.
It's gonna be alcohol and peach tea for me once this is done, because I can't have too much carbonation. But
Okay. Well, thanks for ruining your entire Saturdays with it.
oh, I'm looking forward to being a mess.
Megatron must be stopped, no matter the cost.
Guys, Carly's crazy. She could do anything. If this was the 1950s, the doctor would be slapping Carly.
Yeah, she would be diagnosed with hysteria.
What I do like about this, though, is it's another instance of Bumblebee just rushing off into a situation with, like, no information, no
Yeah.
idea where he's going. And if past instances are to be repeated, no comms.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The fact that, yeah, as we'll see later, like, nobody calls him. They have to go
find
physically
him.
get him. How are they gonna find Carly? What are they doing?
They have no clues at this point. We're just gonna go driving around randomly. I just noticed a weird animation problem.
Oh, the
here.
Double-Bumblebee?
The double
Yeah.
bumblebee. Oh, that's fun to
The
say.
Double-Bumblebee. Guess what? We're gonna have 2 Ironhides in a bit. And I have to question what exactly retiring from active duty means for Ironhide, because he's present at the briefing where they're like, "Oh, we gotta go hunt down Carly. We gotta go hunt down the Immobilizer." Don't know about Carly yet, but he just rolls right out with the rest of them.
It's true, he is in the field. Like,
Yeah,
He's like,
I
you can
don't-
just
I don't
use me
know-
as a consultant. You're gonna pay me 4 times more than you were paying me before, but I'm just consulting.
spot on. Spot
if
on,
he thinks that
Ironhide.
he's just gonna tag along but not have to fight, that's called being dead weight.
Here is part of my theory as Carly is a secret government agent.
Carly's day out, baby.
She drove the boat out there. There's nobody else on the boat. She drove it. She can scuba dive. Like,
It's
that's a
definitely
lot
not
of skills.
definitely not safe to scuba dive alone, but yeah, I had that in my notes too, of like, she is capable as hell.
Yeah,
Definitely
she's
not safe
pretty
to
awesome.
scuba dive in a peplum.
Where did her boat come from? Did she rent it? Well, I'm guessing she's
think
going to
it's-
Ivy League colleges, and her outfits kind of make it feel that way. Like she's total WASP territory, but on the West Coast.
Yeah.
She towed that boat out there behind her convertible. Trailer.
It was in the arc. The convertible was outside the arc for 5 minutes, and Wheeljack already fitted it with those water skis.
So Carly, what's happening on screen is that Carly is out in the ocean, outside the cliffs where we all know that Decepticon headquarters is, and she is scuba diving into Decepticon headquarters. You'll recall she has a grenade-like object with her, and we transition to Decepticon headquarters. They immediately know, because they have a
Yep.
great security system, they immediately know that Carly is on their property.
Great security system. You can just say his name. It's Soundwave.
So yeah, she plants the bomb and then he launches laser beaks to go get her ass.
Which, what was going to happen if she didn't come up from underwater? What if she just stayed there? What were they going to do?
I did have that question of like, the idea of Laserbeak flying through water is really weird.
I mean, I think he does do it. Like, he dips down under and comes back up. He's like one of those, like, seagulls or albatrosses, whoever does it.
Some kind of fucking bird.
Yeah, you know, they were on planet Earth.
Some kind of goonie bird. I like how she has an old school pirate ship steering wheel mechanism, but also she starts the boat, a boat that I'm pretty sure would start with a key,
Yeah.
but with a crucifix.
Yeah.
It does look a little funky there.
Yeah, it's the pull cord to start her outboard. It looks like it's a cross basically.
See, there it goes. Under the water.
Yeah.
Back up again.
Sparkplug made it. He's like, I need to make this boat 200% more holy.
Laserbeak captures Carly.
Yes, I love also
Yeah.
that in the process of trying to fight Laserbeak off, Carly just hits that thing with a scuba tank.
Mm-hmm.
She's a good girl.
She proves more effective against Laserbeak than Bumblebee is.
You know, you love to see it. That's not really a hard bar to beat.
It's true.
We are at commercial break. We're coming back from commercial break.
No, we now return to the Transformers.
There's a interesting echo effect that happens on you every now and again, and that was perfectly placed at that moment.
Wonderful.
I can
Bum,
hear the
bum.
musical sting.
Bum, bum. That's our favorite one.
I love it.
You guys need to do a pentatonic style Transformers background theme music. Can we
I would
do
love
this?
to. I can't fucking hit a tune to save my life. But this is our double Ironhide. When we return to the Ark to see that Ironhide, who either, I don't know, I like to think that he rolled out with the rest and then had to gently be sent back by Optimus with
You're
a reminder
retired,
about what it means to be off of
Ironhide.
active duty.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Ironhide, if you're retired, you can't come fight with us. Like, you have to actually be retired.
Right.
Go knit or something.
Because he's officially retired in the records, that he's no longer covered by the Autobot insurance plan. So whoever's in HR had to kick him back to the base. Otherwise, because if something happened while he was out on patrol, they'd be liable.
Who do we think, who's Autobot HR? Like, just in this
Ooh.
G1 crew that we have. I want to say it's Prowl. I feel like he's the
I
only one
mean-
who has the wherewithal to focus on all those forms.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Is that a guinea pig?
Yes, Caleb is showing us a guinea pig.
What's the guinea pig's name?
Is that Chainsaw?
That's Chainsaw.
Okay.
Did you name the guinea pig?
He did.
Yeah, it looks like a kid who named a guinea pig Chainsaw. Cheers.
Yeah, totally. All right, I'll be.
Wilson loved that, by the way. I heard them laughing from the bedroom.
We're at Autobot headquarters. Double Ironhide is there with Sparkplug. Because Teletran 1 is also everywhere all at once, we see that Laserbeak has Carly and
Yep.
is going to
Well-
drag her to Decepticon headquarters.
This is
Yeah,
one of
that
my
was-
favorite conversations.
From the Sky Spy saw Laserbeak and Carly, and yeah. What conversation are you talking about?
It's a conversation where Sparkplug calls Ironhide over and it's like, oh my god, Laserbeak's got Carly. We gotta do something. And Ironhide's response is, Spike will find her. And Sparkplug, reasonably enough, is like, are you fucking insane? He's 15. We
He can't
have
do
to help
anything.
them.
He's my son, and I know he's a piece of shit. He can't do anything.
It's very, help me, Ironhide, whoever the fuck you are, you're my only hoe. Like,
After the conversation, Ironhide comes to realize he's the only one that can possibly save Carly, thanks to Sparkplug giving him a little pep talk here.
yeah, it's not like you can call Optimus Prime and have him, split the team in two and, send some of those folks who aren't off of active duty to go get Carly.
This show is incredibly ambiguous about the communication technology that the Autobots
Mhm.
have. I
Yeah.
mean, they clearly could do that, but there's no time to go into it, I guess.
No.
But Ironhide, you go do the job, get off retirement. We're going to go back to the Decepticons. Laserbeak is bringing Carly into the mix.
Once again, I have to wonder how Laserbeak fit through a manhole in City of Steel.
Oh, I don't like to think about that episode.
This was one of my favorite moments because the thought that I had was, I wish that Carly had a chance to run for it because she would have had to run in flippers.
Yeah, I noticed she was still wearing flippers, which is pretty funny.
If you've ever had to run in flippers, you know. Anyway, guess what? She immediately gets downgraded from independent woman with her own plans to bait.
Yeah.
Right. There's a couple weird moments here. Megatron is like, who is this creature? That felt a little salacious to me. But some friend of the Autobots, they just surmise, and well, they're probably going to come get her. So we'll be waiting.
I mean, they're not wrong.
No,
Yeah.
not at all. And also great character modeling. That's my favorite sort of look of Megatron right here.
Yeah.
I love all the 90-degree angles. This is perfect.
He's not ghoulish.
Right.
And like that's my favorite part. Because sometimes like Wind Charger, when you zoom right in on his face, like he looks like he's keeping a crypt somewhere.
Bumblebee and Spike are out looking for Carly. They see Skyfire drop off Ironhide.
This is so stupid. This makes no sense.
This scale, too. This scale of Ironhide to Skyfire. Skyfire should not fit inside the Ark.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, there's some mass changing issues with Skyfire for sure, but also, why is
Always.
he even in this episode? Like, what? He doesn't speak. Is it just to remind us he exists?
If
Yes.
Probably. They
Why
were
did
milking every appearance of him they could before the copyright gods
we're
took
about to
him
get
away.
cut off, everybody.
Aaron, to what you were about to say, I don't think it can make him fly. His jetpack can just decelerate him from crashing into the earth.
Then
Which
it's
it
not a
looks really-
jetpack.
Well, then it doesn't say it's
It's just a
jetpack.
rocket-fueled pillow.
It's a braking system.
In any case, he stops in the middle of a busy highway. That's
Yes.
going the wrong direction. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but the ways that the highways are wrong.
I didn't notice that.
We
on.
watch these episodes so many times. We really
Mm.
get into the
Yeah.
weird shit.
The minutia.
So he flags down Bumblebee, and then they race off to find Carly, I guess. I don't even remember if they know where she is at this point.
It would have been awesome
Oh, yeah,
if
they know she's in the base. because,
Ironhide does.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
Ironhide
right,
saw.
bec-
Lake
That's right.
there.
That's right.
This is just another piece of evidence that we should be road testing our seniors because Ironhide clearly doesn't understand the laws of driving. It's dangerous.
I think it would have been
I
awesome
wonder-
if he'd have just landed in front of him and was like, Spike, your girlfriend's at Decepticon headquarters. And then he just transformed and took off. I'm retired.
He just went to his vacation home in Florida.
Spike, Ironhide, they're rolling out. We transition to Decepticon headquarters. The action is getting hot here because the bomb that Carly planted previously explodes, and now the whole base is flooding. Soundwave, though, the most competent probably of all robots, manages to seal off the leak, and he nearly locks Skywarp into the flooded area. But they're all safe, except for Carly.
Harp and I had a fun conversation about this where I was like, yeah, Skywarp almost got caught in there and left to drown. And she said, well, I mean, he can teleport. And I was like, well, do you think he remembers that?
Only when
There-
convenient.
We also had a fun theory because Megatron just walks in and just says, damage report. And I like the idea that, like, this base is flooding every hour on the hour. And so he's just like,
Somewhere.
all right, what's happening this time?
It happens a lot. Now, okay, so the cell that Carly's in begins to flood, and Megatron says,
This could be most interesting.
"This could be most interesting."
This
And I'm
is
like-
possibly the darkest thing that's happened in G1 yet. Like, I know we face a possible apocalypse and mind control and attempted child murder, but this is like, that's goofy cartoon shit. This is,
Mhm.
we locked a woman in a room and watched her drown for laughs.
He does seem super horny to watch a human drown.
The
Like, he's
female
laughing in the middle of
prisoner.
it as she desperately tries to open doors and
Yep.
like swim up to the last bits of air. It's fucked up.
It's rough. It's rough. For sure.
And then after it floods, he's like, "All right, show's over," and they walk
Get back to
away.
work.
I like how they walk away from it before the good part happens, though.
The good part.
Oh my god.
Well, I think they assume that she's dead. They don't know how humans work.
But why wouldn't you
Mhm.
just watch it to completion?
I don't know.
Oh boy.
Well, thankfully, I don't know if you're oboeing the words to completion, but
I am.
Yep.
Ironhide busts in luckily and saves Carly, and so we don't get to see that grisly outcome, thankfully.
Well,
She
and I
makes
know
a horrible noise when she's on land again.
I know that humans are invincible in this show, but just as a little aside, the density of water really amplifies explosions, so he would have turned her inside out by blowing a hole through that wall.
Oh, I already have enough issues with deep sea diving.
Well, I was going to say, yeah, the decompression of him just getting to the surface. Or do we need?
Well, we've talked about that.
That is a myth busted. Because
that doesn't enter into
the first time when in Ultimate Doom Part 1, when they're rescuing Sparkplug and they just take him like out of the base right to the surface. I guess the bends has more to do with how much time you're spending down underwater.
Oh, I thought it had to do with the nitrogen in the.
Yeah, but you have to have the nitrogen build up.
Oh, okay.
By being underwater that long.
It only affects you if you're breathing canned air. If you hold your breath, you don't get the bends.
Yeah, and like she's just going straight from drowning to the surface, which has its own issues.
Yeah, but
at least the bends wouldn't be part of it.
Correct. Yeah.
And I don't think they're that deep.
And it feels like they're in a relative shallow. I mean, I guess we don't know how
with the
big
sunlight.
That ship is, but the height, it has that spire that must be hundreds of feet high. How deep is it? Is significant deep water diving?
I know that free divers typically go to like 100-something feet, right? Not beyond that, or
I think after training, they can get pretty deep. I don't know. I read a lot of books about scuba divers as a kid.
I read a lot of horror stories about people getting like accidentally liquefied by airlocks, and also like stuck in their scuba diving, like if they're in a cave or something, and then they just slowly drown. So that's my frame of reference. I used to go on a lot of Wikipedia spirals as a teen. I was lonely.
Hopefully we get to if we ever get to a spelunking episode, I'll make sure that we bring you all back into the mix.
I can talk about Ted the Caver, and also the real life guy who got stuck in a cave with only his like feet out, and they literally could not get him out. So emergency services just had to wait for him to die, and then they just filled the hole in with concrete, and there's a memorial to him.
Jesus Christ.
They could not get his body back out.
Brian, this sounds like your kind of stuff that you like.
It sounds vaguely familiar. I may have read this.
Probably.
Ryan, it would be more in your territory if somebody came by, cut the guy's throat, walked off.
You're a man of taste as well.
Yeah. There was a serial killer who used to take people to a cave full of rats, and that's how he disposed of his victims.
What?
Dope. Who's that?
Kuklinski. Technically, he worked for the mob, so it's quote-unquote serial killer, but the Iceman was his nickname.
Oh, I recognize the nickname because we used to refer to my grandfather as that because he was Italian.
Well, Kuklinski was Polish.
I know, but you said like the mob / the mafia, like that was the goof.
That's fun.
I'm sure your grandpa appreciated that.
I want to hear a whole More Than Meet the Pod episode about the Iceman.
He had a lot of nicknames.
All right.
We're safely back on the beach at this point. Everybody is feeling pretty good about this rescue here. And it feels like Ironhide is back in action. Bee, Spike, and Carly, they prepare to roll out, but they turn around to see that Ironhide has gotten immobilized.
Like Lot's wife. He is a pillar of salt.
They shouldn't have looked back.
Oh my gosh, you guys. Vonnegut, the Bible. This is the most literary episode ever.
We like to be dramatic.
Fucking the Old Testament of all things.
Bumblebee does say the line, "Let's get out of here," which is supposedly in like 60% of movies.
I don't doubt it.
The Decepticons are behind them. They reveal themselves from the cliffs.
So we get one good rumble chuckle before the monologue starts.
Is there's a laugh? And the last time we watched it, we're like, that's Rumble. That's Rumble, baby.
It is.
He's our boy.
Really weird that they just insert Rumble laugh here.
Megatron was like, you've worked hard this week. You can be the one to give away our position.
Yeah.
To be fair, they gave away their position by immobilizing Ironhide.
Well, no. Spike, Carly, and Bumblebee didn't know the Decepticons were there, and probably would never have turned around to look if Rumble hadn't laughed.
Okay, fine. We're going to go with that.
This is the head empty, no tactical knowledge squad.
Ironhide has been immobilized permanently, as Megatron makes clear, and he's also gonna freeze the whole goddamn planet while he's at it. That is his scheme, is to ice 9 Earth.
Yeah, including the people.
That's right. And
Basil, please.
It's like it's gonna take forever.
but not if Optimus Prime has anything to do about it, who thankfully somehow is here, and he blasts Megatron. This is a great part because this is one of those scenes where Starscream does that thing he does where Megatron, he just gets a little scrape and all of a sudden Starscream is the leader.
Now I, Starscream, lead the Decepticons.
Yes.
Classic.
Megatron fell down. He's out.
Megatron stubs his toe and Starscream's assuming command.
Megatron gets a hangnail.
Megatron has one bad day.
And that nerd Rumble is using the remote for the immobilizer.
That you mean that?
Who
that
let
geek?
him be in charge? He can't see.
He does a pretty good job.
Yeah, he's.
If you like the comics canon, he can't fucking see.
Is
G1
that right?
Rumble is visually impaired according to Marvel.
Is
Yeah,
that in the,
he sees in like how a crossword looks. He sees like white on black.
is that in the tech specs profile or something?
It's in the G1 comics run. We get a moment where so Rumble was supposed to be watching the cave to make sure no Autobots snuck in, and then obviously an Autobot or not an Autobot
Spike.
Buster.
Oh, Buster. Yeah.
Buster Spike, he sneaks into the cave. And so Shockwave, who is in charge at this point, is just like, you were supposed to be on watch. What did you see? And he plugs into Rumble, and we get to see Rumble vision for a few panels. And it's this like really low resolution black and white.
I don't remember
Like
that
single
at all.
I don't either. Maybe
That's an
why-
Autobot level of stupidity. Put the guy who we all know can't see very well in charge of watching the base.
Look at that, baby.
There is that episode that we watched where Mirage and Hound sneak into the base and Rumble's on guard duty and is like, now what's that?
Yeah.
He sees a boulder and some footprints, and
Yes.
he's like, that looks normal.
I guess
That
it's
checks
just
out.
nothing.
Now,
That's one of my favorite Rumble episodes.
of course, we are operating under the assumption that this is Rumble.
No, I think
Nobody wants to get into that.
I think this is Rumble because we do see Rumble and Frenzy in several episodes now. Then again, it could be flip-flopping, who knows? But I would assume that Frenzy has the same, visual specs as Rumble because they're identical.
That would be weird if they just gave one of them amazing vision and then said the other one is next to blind.
Frenzy has great vision, but terrible hearing. Rumble has great hearing, but terrible vision.
They should give the one that Rumble would be the one with good vision, and they should have named the other one with bad vision Stumble.
Well done, Caleb.
And I'm out.
Thank you.
Stumble is trigger happy with the immobilizer here. He gets blue streak, gears, sideswipe. It's crazy at this point. Carly has an idea. She asks Brawn, and I don't know how she knows Brawn's name, but she asks him to drill a tunnel to the immobilizer. How does she know he can do that? Meanwhile, Jazz is cued for his part of the scheme. While the immobilizer aims at Optimus Prime, Jazz creates this whole psychedelic audio experience that rivals really any Pink Floyd laser light show.
Yeah.
It's very distracting.
Megatron and Rumble.
Here's the thing, Blue Streak, who is their primary attention getter, as we know from Attack of the Autobots, he's out of commission, so it's up to Jazz.
Yeah, I felt like Jazz just reminded me of like the X-Men Dazzler, where it just makes a laser light show. I thought that was cool. And then we did have a callback where like Brawn does in the Ultimate Doom use that same drill. I thought that was nice and consistent.
Yeah, Brawn be real. Oh, I was just saying that it completely fucks up the Decepticons' motor control so that Carly gets the opportunity to just pop out of a hole in the ground.
Right. I think they missed an opportunity in the writing. They should have referenced somehow some sort of strategy from whatever Bumblebee was doing with Robot Resource. Like, his skills with Robot Resource matches.
Oh, that would have
whatever
been fun.
That actually would have
I
been
think
really good.
Everything you guys have said continues to contribute to this idea of Carly as a CIA plant. She knows everything about everything. Maybe she's young, but she's still a genius.
It's really suspicious. It's very suspicious.
She knows exactly what to do. She just swaps the cables and jumps right back into the hole.
She reversed polarities.
She crossed the stream.
Literally, there's a plus and a minus, and she just flipped them.
This is a callback to the scene earlier where Spike uses jumper cables to shock Ravage.
Okay.
Oh, God.
This is top-notch writing.
I think she's from the future. I think somehow she's been sent back to fix some kind of past to make the
You know
future
what?
better.
I
What,
like
she's-
that.
This is Quantum Leap. Is she Sam Beckett?
Sure.
That's why she's like simultaneously 16 and 24.
Yeah. Yeah.
So she pops out of this dig dug tunnel and then just hops right back in. And
Yeah.
After she flips the cords around, and
How did she get out of Braun in the underground tunnel?
Oh yeah, that's got to be tight quarters. Think how claustrophobic that would be to be inside Braun while going through the earth.
You guys ever seen The Descent?
Oh yes,
Oh yeah,
it's great.
it's a fantastic movie. I did a whole thread a while ago on how it's like top tier lesbian horror.
Who is in it?
I think it's a lot of no names.
It is
Yeah,
a lot
I
of no
know.
names. Even the director is like not really that well known.
The
It
sequel's
is
pretty
genuinely
good,
one of the
too.
scariest horror movies I've ever seen.
Harper doesn't watch horror movies for the record, typically, except for Midsummer.
Oh, I was just gonna say the sequel's pretty good too.
Really, I don't think I've actually seen it all the way through, but I've been planning on it.
It's
Have you guys-
surprisingly good.
Good.
Real weird tangent. Have you guys seen Witch? Like, I want to
Yeah.
watch it and I
Yeah.
don't want to watch it.
The first time I watched The Witch, this is a fun story. It was during the year after I dropped out of college where I was working overnights, and also every time I got home at 8 a.m., I would just smoke a bowl and eat some junk food. That was the first time I watched The Witch. No subtitles. Baked out of my mind. I
Yeah.
had no idea what anybody was saying. When I
It's
watched it a couple years later with subtitles, sober, I understood
Yeah.
it much better.
I like period pieces, and then I've heard that one's visually really historically accurate. So I want to watch it, but I get a lot of anxiety from reading about the plot, and I'm like, oh god.
The
so-
baby murder is intense,
Yeah.
but it's mostly
yeah.
off screen.
That's good.
Mostly off screen.
You get some disturbing implications.
Yeah. Okay.
It is pretty historically accurate, aside from the Gap beanie. I love that movie. I think it's really good.
Okay. Well, I like the director. So all right.
Yeah.
Fair enough. All right. Sorry. Randy.
Anyway,
It's all good, man. The Decepticons don't know it yet, but they've lost control of the Immobilizer. Megatron commands Rumble to keep firing, but he's lost control of that device. It's now actually unfreezing all the Autobots. Now, I don't know why he would aim at Autobots that he's already frozen, or if we're to believe that this thing is just moving on its own accord at this point.
I think it's going back to the recorded history of things that's immobilized,
Ooh, I
and
like
like
that.
starting from the top of the
It's
cube.
Control
Which would
Zing.
explain because, I mean, Ironhide shoots Rumble and then destroys their remote control.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that checks out. Because it does seem like it's automated. It's not.
Yeah.
I don't think Rumble's controlling it. So,
Did
yeah.
Laserbeak just shoot Ironhide in the eye? Hang on a second.
I think.
Oh,
yeah,
no,
let's roll that tape back.
It's a beak hitting him in the face,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do have to say, so yeah, Laserbeak is ejected from Soundwave to go and like reclaim the Immobilizer, and we get a close-up shot of Laserbeak's weird bird feet,
Yes.
and I hate them.
Ironhide just grabs him.
pretty
I
weird.
likened it to just grabbing a goose by the feet and swinging it around.
Yeah. So the Immobilizer, it's unfreezing everybody at this point. I guess you could call it the Mobilizer. Megatron is very put out that he's lost his hold on this device, and he's throwing a goddamn temper tantrum. He's a baby.
He is.
The immobilizer's mine! Mine! No!
A baby.
It's mine, mine.
I don't like it. And then Ironhide smashes it on the ground. Why the fuck did you do that? You could have still used it.
Once again, head empty, no thoughts.
Yeah. There is a cool bit whenever he does smash it. It's a blink and you'll miss it thing, but as he does it, there's a nut that comes out of it and it flies toward the camera through a hole, and you see the Ironhide behind it through a hole. It's
Yeah,
pretty
that's a
cool.
really good shot.
Yeah, it's very neat.
Because it's not an
Really cool
ACOM
stuff that
episode, there's quality like this that we all
There you go.
have to
I
look
want
forward
to
to.
create a compilation of the times that we see Transformers through other things. Because right now it's just Skyfire in Fire in the Sky. It's Ironhide earlier in this episode peeking through a hole, and then this.
Which I can't tell what part of Ironhide's body. That looks like his head and his shoulder and his legs because he's
Yeah.
like falling through.
I'll make it a little bigger for you.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
I live
Just
to
close
serve.
up on those delts and triceps.
It's time for the classic end of episode regroup. And this time it's going to be outside of Autobot headquarters. Ironhide.
This one's a doozy.
It is good. These angles are so good.
Yeah, they're great.
But Ironhide is going to be fully reinstated. No demotion.
Can I unretire?
Optimus is like, I literally didn't let you retire, so I'll just tell you yes.
If you didn't go on one fishing trip, I don't think you ever retired. Wheeljack at this point starts to query Carly on how she knew how to reverse the Immobilizer, and this is where it turns out that she's some kind of engineering genius, and she's no damsel in distress. In fact, she's had this theory about how she could reverse the power of the Immobilizer ever since she first got to MIT.
Now, hold on.
Yep.
This is where the hinge of my Carly's age theory lies.
Mm-hmm.
She never once says that she has gone to MIT. What she says specifically is it's a theory she's had ever since she accepted her science scholarship at MIT.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that says, like, if you had gone to MIT, you would say, oh, this is a theory that I had that I worked on at MIT. This to me says she has not yet gone to college. This says, like, I accepted my scholarship, but I'm not there yet.
Unless she's just trying to brag and say, I've had this idea ever since before I started college.
That's true. She might be an absolute braggart.
But did she just accept that scholarship because she just learned the Immobilizer existed, unless we're just talking about some weird theory? I don't know how she could have just had this idea and connected it to the Immobilizer.
It's so up in the air. It's possible she learned about polarity when she was hacking into those government databases, which is my theory.
And my theory, based off of Harper's theory, is that she hacked into Teletran 1 and like Wheeljack's databases, because I mean, we've seen Teletran 1 get hacked a million times already, or just at least fucked up.
And how much research do you need to do to just change wires around?
You don't. You need none.
Genius.
None research with left Carly.
Well, luckily, at this point, Bumblebee, he's quite the pickup artist. He whispers a little tip in Spike's ear, some sweet negs to use on Carly. But he asks,
this is one of my favorite other quotes, which is Bumblebee's gibberish of.
Spike asks Carly to go and meet him for an emulsified CO2 with lactic acid, and she looks puzzled, even though she's a genius. And then Spike clarifies that it's a chocolate soda. Yeah, but that seems like basic chemistry. Even if you're an engineer,
there's nothing about chemistry that's basic.
No, don't even. This strikes me as a H2SO or H2O H2O2 joke.
Or like dihydrogen monoxide.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I would just be, if somebody tried to pick me up that way, I would just punch that person in the face.
Yeah. My goof was going to be like, Spike asked her out with this thing, and then Carly, a normal person. And then I realized that Carly is the furthest thing from a normal person. But she still is like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah.
I do like this ending shot moment because
it's great.
As they're driving off away from the sunset, Ironhide places his hand on Sparkplug's shoulder, and we watched it the first time. Kate was just like, oh, Sparkplug and Ironhide are married. Nothing else. That's all she said.
Ironhide is Spike's new dad. Finally, it just is very parental, like, they grow up so fast.
Yeah.
I want to know for what ungodly reason Carly says yes.
Yeah, I mean, we know she's not. There's no evidence she would be into Spike at all. But maybe it's a friend thing. We just still don't know that there's romance. We only know that they bang later in life. Certainly, they're not going to just go right at it at the soda shop. Ryan, is that the same car from Garfield in Paradise?
It does look like it. Holy shit!
I'm sorry. I'm gonna need a little more context on Garfield in Paradise.
I'm pretty sure the car in Garfield in Paradise is a 57 Chevy.
Oh, okay. You're right. It is.
Well, somebody please tell me what Garfield in Paradise is.
Garfield in Paradise it was a 30-minute anime. I think it was 30 minutes. I don't even know how long it was.
I think it was a movie.
Was it a whole movie?
It felt like it, yeah.
Anyway, it was made for TV, and it's Garfield and John and Odie. They go on vacation to a volcanic island, and that's like there's a Wolfman Jack plays a character who like
Yes.
That's all I remember about the plot. Basically.
So it's in a nutshell. Now you guys will have to. I don't know if I should ask. You guys don't have to watch it, but if you do watch it,
a bitch just might.
Yeah. I don't want to run the plot, but I'll just say Garfield has to rescue a female cat that's like a native indigenous of the island, I think, from getting sacrificed in the volcano.
That's fucked up and highly racist.
Yes, and so it is. It's problematic. So their resolve is to instead they sacrifice a '57 Chevy.
Yeah.
Yes, the car.
Yeah, they drive the car.
That is equal value to the life of an indigenous cat.
I think also it's John's love interest too is going to be sacrificed.
The car?
If I'm not mistaken.
That was also my thought.
No, the beautiful Polynesian princess,
Benny
of course.
Fox's car.
Yeah.
Okay, so now that we've hit the end of the episode,
it was like prime time. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Can we dive into the debate about Carly's age?
Let's
do
it.
I have 4 main points. I'm going to run through them here. She is at least 10 years old. She can dive. She can scuba dive. I could not find any age restrictions on renting scuba gear. I thought I really had something with that. You only have to be 14 years old to operate a boat and 16 to rent one in Washington State.
Assuming she's following the law.
Which I know is in the comics. I'm taking it as canon for the show.
Mm-hmm.
So she's at least 16. But she owns and operates her own car. I don't know if she owns it. I won't say that. She's operating her own car solo, and she is allowed to have a passenger under 20. She's at least 17.
Okay.
And again, the MIT thing. She has accepted a scholarship to MIT, which I believe could be possible. So my personal vote is that she is 17 years old, which isn't great for dating a 15-year-old immature Spike. However, not illegal.
It's not criminal.
It's not criminal. And I hate to lower myself to like a Michael Bay Romeo and Juliet laws level.
Yeah, I just happen to know the statutory age in every state.
The age of consent in Washington State is 16 years.
No.
I did unfortunately uncover this in my journey.
Yeah, but we're in Oregon, so I have to trump you on a few points that you have here.
Okay, please do. I don't know why I thought Washington State was accurate, but
it's the Pacific Northwest. It's all the same. It's just a progressive liberal paradise up there. It's beautiful. The ocean. That's
where we're moving it someday.
I'm jealous because it's so amazing. But so let's we can assume she's 17 or 18, but I unfortunately have the Google history of typing in age of consent in Oregon. So now the CIA is just waiting for me to buy a plane ticket. Or I guess
it would be the FBI.
Yeah, it would be the FBI. Thanks for correcting me, you pedantic asshole.
NBC and Mr. Sands, personally.
But there are no Romeo and Juliet laws in Oregon. If you're under 18, you can't legally have sex. Anyone older than 18 cannot hook up with anybody under 18. So within the Romeo and Juliet laws, let's see here. In Oregon, those laws apply only to those under 18. Both parties have to be minors for that defense to be acceptable. So, okay, never mind. You're right then. If she's 17 and we're assuming that they're hooking up, they might be good Christian teens following the letter of the biblical law.
What the hell it's gotta be.
They're going for a chocolate soda, for God's sake. We've probably beaten the horse of the age situation, but it is...
I think it's not as bad as it was at first glance.
Yeah.
However,
it's not great.
Well,
I don't know why she wants to date Spike.
I actually have a little bit about that, just to put a tag on the end of this. In the TF Production Bible, it says that Carly is a year older than Spike, which would make her like 16, I guess.
So this is a Doogie Howser situation.
Okay. I mean, I think that there is some wiggle room in the space between seasons. And I'm not saying wiggle room as in, please let me, assume that Spike is not a minor, because that is gross. But I think that we can maybe say that he is 16.
Yeah, so either way, either he's 15 and she's 16, or he's 16 and she's 17, or that's what it says in the production Bible. I did like this note, though, talking about why she'd be interested in Spike. It says, quote, Carly, a year older than Spike, could be called Spike's girlfriend, but not to her face. Carly.
Oh shit!
Carly was always more interested in the Autobots than Spike, to Spike's dismay. Although she appreciates his friendship.
Ooh.
But I mean, they definitely fuck unless Daniel is somehow Ironhide's kid.
No, they get together later, but this is just.
I would say that, like, at this point, maybe we could just say, you know, they're buds. They're going out for a chocolate soda, and like years later, they develop a relationship.
Spike wears her down.
Oh no! Carly has such a bright future until she fucking hitched her wagon to this Oregonian bumpkin.
Good lord. Where is MIT?
Massachusetts?
Okay, I don't fucking know. Well, Harper said Massachusetts. Wilson said Michigan.
It's definitely
MIT,
Massachusetts. It's in Boston.
MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology.
Okay.
Why do I know that? Why do I know that? I know that because of Avengers fan fiction. How we doing, boys?
There you go.
Nice.
We're talking about Carly. Whenever we have a new voice actor, I have to do a little bit of research about that
Arlene
person.
Banas, baby.
Yeah, Arlene Banas. Do you think I'm pronouncing that correctly?
I'm pretty sure it's Banas. We did a whole episode about like voice actresses in Transformers, and I'm pretty sure it's Banas from what I've heard.
Okay. As iconic as she is, she only did 8 episodes and also 5 Faces of Darkness. So I feel like she's ingrained in our heads as Daniel's mom and as Spike's girlfriend, but she really wasn't on that much. How do we know how often Chip Chase was on? Has he got any more appearances?
He does.
Ooh, I think he's in another one after season 1.
There's at least like 3 more episodes he's in.
Okay. Well,
I think Carly sticks out so much because aside from Louisa, she's like our only named female character with lines.
Yeah.
For a while, at least.
At least reoccurring character.
And obviously, that because there's a level of romance there, which I was surprised. I remember back in the Louisa episode, I was waiting for that to get integrated into the storyline, and it never did. So that was surprising.
Well, to be fair, now looking back, I'm like, yeah, Spike's 14.
He's not even interested in girls at that point in time.
He's more interested in the fact that, like, this mountain almost exploded.
He's got, like, a slingshot in his back pocket and a frog in his overalls.
He's wearing Oshkosh Bagosh overalls.
So, Arlene...
With a propeller on it.
So he's Huck Finn?
Is he going to whitewash a fence?
Walls? Yeah.
Okay, anyway,
thanks,
Arlene
Caleb.
Banas, please.
Arlene Banas. She did lots of one-shots on some anime and a few TV shows. I've got Dynasty, Falcon Crest. She's the sheriff. Freddy's Nightmares. Do you remember that show, Ryan?
I remember it, but I didn't watch it regularly.
Isn't she Jem, or is that somebody else?
I did not get that note. I don't think she is Jem.
Somebody else.
But Transformers was actually one of her more lasting gigs.
Is that Susan Blue?
Is Susan Blue? No, I don't
Susan Blue's not Jem. No.
She's in Jem, definitely.
Yeah,
everybody's in Jem.
I think she does Stormer, maybe. I think Susan Blue does Stormer. But the woman who did Jim, I follow her on Twitter. I just can't remember what her name is.
Is it Samantha Newark?
Yes,
I don't know.
because she followed us, I think, on the pod account, which made me go, oh.
She's 52 years old. She's holding it down. She looks great.
Oh yeah, Sam Newark is hot.
Mm-hmm.
This is true. She's still got like the bleach blonde, pinkish hair.
Yeah, she's got an 80s rocker chick vibe about her, and it's doing her all the favors.
God bless her.
but we're not talking about her. We're talking about sorry, Arlene, to take away from your screen time here. One of my favorite pieces in Arlene Banas' portfolio is she played the role of Dan Quayle's wife, Marilyn Quayle, in a 1991 film starring a young Bill Maher called Pizza Man. And the synopsis of that film is that a pizza man is on a quest to get $15.23 when somebody orders a pizza. He uncovers a plot to rule the world and stops at nothing to get his pay.
I can't believe somebody made an entire movie out of the B plot of Better Off Dead.
That's exactly what I was thinking. That's
I want my
weird.
$2.
Oh, that's very strange.
The tagline to this movie is, when it comes to laughs, he delivers.
I hate it.
She was also, I think she was Miss Chicago. I Google image searched her, and pictures of of somebody that looked vaguely like her wearing a Miss Chicago sash showed up. She was born in 1946. Here's the question for Caleb and Ryan. We play this little morbid game. Is she alive or dead?
God.
She's alive.
She's definitely alive.
I will say she's dead, even though I know she's probably alive, just to be contrary.
She's alive.
Yeah.
You don't sound sad about it.
I wasn't trying
She
to.
is, alas, alive.
She's alive.
Unfortunately, she's
She was
alive.
at TFCon DC.
Oh,
She is one of because after TFCon DC, we did a whole like episode about that. It kind of became about the fact that the disparity between male and female guests at TFCon DC is huge, and she is one of the few female guests that have been at TFCon, any TFCon over the ages.
I would like to. I'd like to go to one where Susan Blue was there. That'd be cool.
Oh, absolutely. Oh my, I would kill to meet Susan Blue, because we talked about this in the voice actors episode. But not only is Susan Blue a lesbian, which obviously I would like to meet her. Susan Blue is also in a Friday the 13th movie.
Yep, number 7.
Yep.
It's one of my
plays
favorites.
the mom who gets also very murdered.
I think I was going to say. I think we talked about that. Was that our trivia question?
It was. We did have her as a trivia question in our panel. That was the tidbit after the answer. The question was about who she played in Jim, and then the tidbit that Caleb revealed after the answer was that she was in Friday the 13th Part 7.
Oh, I would have nailed that. Pity we couldn't have stayed.
And Jason, and
we had to go
scene,
look at an Ebola laboratory before we went home.
That's a weird scene. Jason comes out of left field and just kills her.
I think I stopped at 7. I still haven't seen like 8, 9, and fucking Jason.
You don't need to see anymore.
Jason. No, I kind of do.
Number 8 for me, like number 7 is at the end of where I like them. Like number 8, I feel is garbage, and then
8 is Manhattan, right?
Yeah.
Nice.
He's in Manhattan for like 15 minutes. But
oh, I know. I've listened to extensive discourse about Jason Takes Manhattan.
Yeah. Well, those are the Paramount ones, and then it's sold to Miramax, and then they go bananas.
Passingly familiar with Jason like production lore.
Friday the 13th is my favorite horror series.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's
I watch
fair.
it frequently.
I didn't even know that. I'll need to
You
buy
don't
you.
talk to me.
Now I can buy you some better birthday presents instead of whatever garbage.
Or any.
Wait,
we're just here to uncover the deep Autopod Decepticast lore.
Yeah.
Oh,
Sometimes
man.
you need to bring in some new blood to like open up the doorway.
We need to include you on our passive aggressive text chains.
Yes, please. I love salt.
No, do not. You do not want that.
Mike Seibert, I feel so bad for him. He's on one of our text chains, and every now and again it gets really salty, and I feel so bad for him because he's just innocent. Hey, it's me, Mike Seibert.
Yeah, he's totally stuck.
Hey, first
he
you
has to
had
hear
a
us
good
being-
time. Mike Seibert.
He has to hear us being bitches to each other. It's just-
Yeah.
I feel really bad. At this point in the show, we typically have a segment called In the Real World, and Ryan will dig into whatever kind of script background stuff. But I have a couple questions. Ryan, have you already covered all that information, or do you have stuff?
I have stuff.
Okay, and then is there anything, Kit and Harper, that you want to touch on before we get into that?
Ooh, I don't know. I think I've forcibly interjected most of my opinions on this episode.
I love it.
Yeah. I will say it has been interesting because with the two of us, like we watch all the episodes together. Like we watch it the first time together, we do our notes together, we watch it the last time together. So we're so used to knowing when we're going to stop and
dig into things.
Yeah. So it's been interesting to kind of have to navigate what we know we want to talk about with like what you guys are talking about.
Yeah, we did one version where we did our notes watch separately, and it took us approximately 2 to 3 hours separately to do our notes watch because we just had different things to focus on, and we did research and blah blah blah. It was a lot.
Well, I hope it worked out well enough where you guys could jump in there.
Oh no, yeah, it's been good.
Okay. Yeah, we do the opposite where we all watch it separately and 2 of us make notes.
Can you guess which 2?
Ooh, Oof, drag him. I feel
Hey,
like I'm getting an inside glance at the passive-aggressive text chains.
I have my own style. It works.
If we had just met each other a year ago, we would probably not like each other. I feel like sometimes we're just friends by default and history.
Or yeah, it's friendship inertia.
Yeah.
In the real world.
So, the Immobilizer.
True story.
I already made that joke.
Damn it.
The Immobilizer aired September 24th, 1985. In the American Top 40, it was still Dire fucking Straits. So I just picked another song from the top 10, which was John Parr's St. Elmo's Fire, which I don't know if any of you guys have seen that movie.
What I know about St. Elmo's Fire is that it's referenced in the Bowling for Soup song 1985.
Wow. Yep. It is also known as Man in Motion. Gotta be a man in motion.
I think I know that. Yeah.
Yeah. It was there's a Brat Pack movie of the same name, and it was number 1 on September 7th, 1985. But we don't have an episode from that week. So the song was created and edited in 24 hours, and the inspiration was a Canadian athlete, Rick Hansen, who was going around the world in his wheelchair in order to raise awareness of spinal cord injuries.
Interesting.
Yeah. It was called the Man in Motion Tour. All right, at the box office, number 1. It turns out I made a mistake, and Back to the Future is still number 1 during this last week. So Back to the Future to me is kind of one of those movies that if you don't like Back to the Future, I don't know if maybe you just don't like movies.
Right.
I don't particularly care for Back to the Future.
Well, then I mean it's fine to be wrong.
I fully admit that I like trash.
The inspiration, Bob Gale found his dad's old yearbook, and he found out his dad was a class president and hadn't known his own class president. So he wondered if he and his father would have been friends if they'd been in high school together, and that's kind of the genesis of where the story came from.
Huh.
And everybody probably knows this, but Eric Stoltz was actually cast as Marty before Michael J. Fox, and they did like 6 weeks of production with him.
Yeah, they filmed.
Yeah, and
that's a lot of production to change your actor.
Oh yeah.
Harper knows stuff about TV and video prod. I know nothing.
Yeah, it was, well, basically, their first choice was Marty. For Marty was Michael J. Fox, but he was filming Family Ties, so there was a conflict, and he couldn't get out of his contract.
Okay.
But then after several weeks, Zemeckis just didn't like Stoltz, and they had added $3 million to the budget for reshoots, but they finally were able to work out a coordination with Michael J. Fox's schedule.
Looking up Eric Stoltz right now, because I have no idea who that is.
Oh, yeah, he was in Pulp Fiction, and he was in
Butterfly Effect.
Yeah, he was in a bunch of stuff.
He was in Mask, but in heavy makeup.
You can find stills, and
you can find video. You can find footage. There's edited, produced footage of it out there.
Who does he play in an episode of Leverage?
Alan Scott in 2011. Right now.
Oh, but I want to see, because then I can absolutely tell you which episode of Leverage he's in.
Here you go. This is Eric Stoltz.
He looks familiar to me.
I've never thought about this, but he has a Michael J. Fox-ish look about him.
Yeah.
He's like a ginger Michael J. Fox.
The problem basically was just that he was playing it really serious, and he wasn't getting the humor and charm and connection with Doc that
Christopher
wanted.
Lloyd.
Yeah.
He's in a TV movie called The Passion of Ayn Rand.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh my God. I was wrong about which Leverage character he is.
Yeah?
He's the husband in the Long Way Down job.
Oh!
Just to round out the Back to the Future stuff, it spent 11 weeks at number 1. Its budget was $19 million, and it made $389 million.
That's pretty good.
Back to the Future was a phenomenon of our youth. Sorry that we have to talk about it so much because it was definitely. I don't know what to compare it to from your old. How old are you guys?
26.
We're both 94 babies.
Okay, 94 babies. I'm trying to.
So I guess you would say the highlight of our youth was 9/11.
Oh man, I mean, it's top notch. It's hard to beat, really.
Yeah.
It spent so many weeks at number 1. I'm not
the top of the charts.
I mean, I grew up with a fondness for early aughts to mid aughts horror movies, so I guess that's my only real like millennium icons.
Sure.
But
I'm
yeah,
thinking,
I don't
like,
really
in
know
terms
if
of pop culture, I guess in my head, I'm trying to compare it to the Harry Potter franchise or Twilight or something
I
like
guess that would be fair. Harry Potter is kind of that. That was the first like chapter book I ever finished.
Harry Potter is probably bigger than Back to the Future. I don't think, but Back to the Future. I mean, at the time, I don't think that from a movie marketing, they didn't have it figured out, dialed in like they did later on.
I think one of the things is back in the 80s, things were much more iconic because there wasn't as much to dilute it.
Right.
So by the time you get to Harry Potter and the movies, there's so much more things happening that like they're not focused on one thing.
Yeah.
Right.
And also, they're just so much more sophisticated nowadays in terms of really drilling home. This is the thing that you all are going to be paying attention to and love for the rest of your lives. But
by this point in pop culture, this is the thing you're going to be paying attention to for 2 weeks,
right?
And then it's going to be something else.
It's
which
true.
is why like Transformers
impresses me so much that it just stuck
around
for
35 years.
Yeah, I mean, like they just they're greenlighting a new series right now.
Yeah.
Oh, are they? I don't even know about that.
Oh, yeah, on Netflix, War for Cybertron.
Oh, that one, yes.
I have one more thing about the real world. It was, I usually do the cover of TV Guide, but this was a duplicate, so I just had some trivia from this week in the world, September 22nd, 1985. The French Prime Minister went on TV to confess that agents of the French intelligence agency were responsible for bombing and sinking the flagship of the Greenpeace fleet, the Rainbow Warrior. When it was while it was in port in New Zealand.
Was it
I
an
definitely
accident?
run into multiple Rainbow Warriors at Pride parades.
Nice.
Mostly they've just given me thumbs up and kind of
roller skated past.
Yeah, some saucy hand gestures at times.
The reason they sank it was on its way to protest a planned French nuclear test in French Polynesia. And
you just hit us with that nuclear right there?
Nuclear.
I heard a nuclear, I think.
You did not.
Hey, George
And
W.
if you did, it's now edited out.
That's fine. I have an egregious Buffalo accent, so.
The weird thing was it was called Operation Satanic, which is strange.
Okay, so that means it was planned.
Here's the thing. It's a portmanteau of sink and Titanic. It has nothing to do with Satan. It's just satanic.
We'll go with that. Makes as much sense as anything. So
what
it was
an amazing connection.
It was state-sponsored terrorism. Basically, they sunk a Greenpeace ship.
Well, what were they worried about? What was the French government trying to prevent from happening?
To a French protest.
Yes, it was going to protest the French nuclear test in French Polynesia.
But they weren't
gonna... imagine France didn't want to be connected to, we're gonna, fucking drop some nuclear waste on some indigenous peoples.
That we colonized, maybe 20 to 30 years prior and just kind of swept under the rug.
Yeah, so they sunk it in New Zealand and were like, it was a secret operation, and took like 6 months, and it eventually came out that it was sanctioned by the state secret service.
That's fucked up.
How many people died?
1.
Oh, really?
Okay,
I guess if you're the French government, I'd say mission accomplished. I guess that's okay.
Odds. What are the odds that Carly was involved in that?
Oh shit!
100%.
Yeah.
Thanks for bringing us. Thanks for bringing us back around.
Script deviations.
All right, I've just got a little bit of stuff in this one because the original script isn't online. But the writer of this episode, Earl Kress, did several interesting TV Transformers episodes. He co-wrote The Ultimate Doom Part 2.
Dinobots!
Yeah.
And he did Part 1 and 2 of Desertion of the Dinobots, which is coming up later.
I'm excited for that. I've seen some stuff on accident by searching Carly MTF Wiki.
Mm-hmm. Well, like Harper, I have an outsized love for the Dinobots. Every time, I love them so much. He also did Hoist Goes Hollywood, where he becomes an actor.
I'm excited for that one.
Yeah.
And then he wrote for a bunch of other stuff: Tiny Toon Adventures, Pound Puppies, Kim Possible. He won 2 Daytime Emmy Awards, one for Animaniacs and one for Pinky and the Brain. And then
solid cartoons.
Yeah, so good. He did die in 2011 at age 60 from cancer.
Aww.
So there you go. Those are script deviations.
Ryan.
The script deviation is death?
Exactly.
In the future, Ryan, if you don't mind, please feel free to always dig in. If we haven't covered them already, dig into the writers. I'll continue to bring in the new actors.
Yes. Yeah, I'll do that.
I'm honestly surprised because like one of the things that I always do is IMDb rating and air date. I have never once looked into the writers.
It's with the script deviations. If I have if there's some crazy stuff from the original script, I kind of do that, and I don't want to necessarily go on too long. But if I don't have a bunch, that's kind of what I do is I look into the trivia of like the writer or weird stuff surrounding a certain episode or whatever.
No, that's fair. It's very interesting. I feel like I've missed a crucial part. Maybe that's something we should do in season recaps. Is like season 1, here are big writers. Season 2, here are some big writers. One of the other things that got suggested to us was talking about human companions. And one of the things I really would like to do with that is look into the development of those and like what were their inspirations, especially like what were the cues that voice actors took. Because we have such a wide range from G1 to like TFP and TFA and like kind of the evolution of every voice actor and every companion is a white kid or a white person playing a person of color to
TFP where we actually have people of color playing people of color.
I don't know, I really want to get into that. Like, how did they develop their characters? What were the keynotes, etc.
So, okay, we can.
I'm the ghost of the iconic moment.
You know.
Yeah, tell me about the iconic moment.
Harper, Kit, start with you. Iconic moment of this show. What was it for you? Harper, you hit it.
Oh, it's me. Have I not been talking enough? It's fine. I'm just happy to listen, always.
Yeah, I appreciate that, you.
I think for me, it just has to be the straight up thirst that Carly has for these Autobots. I get it. I'm not, I love that about her. I'm happy for her.
She really just goes all in. She, we've transferred kind of the thirst mechanism of the show from Spike to Chip Chase in terms of, age appropriateness. But now Carly's coming in here with full, she doesn't give a shit about boy bands. She's all in on aliens. And I respect that.
It's nerd thirst.
Nerd thirst, yeah.
The image of her in her convertible here. I'm trying to figure out what the metaphor is. There's something about her in her car, and I'm trying to make a connection
something?
Here. Yeah, go ahead. Please.
I think it might be Kill Bill Part 2, if you are a Tarantino man.
That moment that Uma Thurman is just in her convertible speeding through South America, monologuing about how she's about to kill Bill.
So is a person or a woman in a convertible driving? What is that symbolic of? Is it?
I think there's always a freedom element to it.
Yeah,
because it's always the open road. The fact that you don't have the roof over the head it's a very we're gonna.
Wind in your hair, wind in your sails. You are flying free. Yeah, and I think even in I know I joked about Kill Bill Part 2, but that's the moment where Beatrice shifts from using the pussy wagon, which is a symbol of her abuse in the times of when she was in the hospital, is now she's got her own vehicle. Aside from the motorcycle in Japan, which again she was even shut up in that in her motorcycle get up and her her helmet. And now she's just going on to the final part of her journey.
Right. She's in control of her own destiny.
Yeah.
Yes.
You can bring Thelma and Louise into that too, I guess.
Oh, yeah. No, the Thelma and Louise iconography is really good.
Yeah. It's a definite shift from Louisa, who is a damsel in distress, be a partner, and then a passenger.
Yes, maybe not
and
real.
also a ghost.
I think also, but unfortunately in this one, she's just driving off away from the sunset with this doofus to get a chocolate soda.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm not saying the situation lines up,
exactly.
But the iconography of a woman driving her own car and that car being a convertible, something that specifically, especially in the 80s, a symbol of white male power and richness and cocaine.
Cocaine.
You could bring Garfield. What is it?
Please bring Garfield back in.
That into this too.
We need some levity.
They actually throw the symbol of white male dominance into the volcano.
I can't believe Garfield in Paradise is a feminist feature.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they say the words "ooga booga" to mimic Polynesian language. So,
I can't wait. That's great.
It's quite bad.
We can't pretend that G1 is any better.
See, Louisa.
See, Carbamia, which we haven't gotten to.
With the exception of that, and I think that's a Flint Dilley thing. When Flint Dilley got into the picture, I think he's the one that let that one slide through. In talking to Ron Friedman, and he's old, but he is a very progressive guy, and his goal in writing this series was to inject progressive idealism into the script. Everything.
You've got renewable resources. This whole entire episode with Carly, I felt Carly had a lot of autonomy. There was never a moment where I was just like, oh God, oh no, this is a cartoon in the 80s dealing with a woman. Like, Carly felt like her own character.
Right.
Like, she was kind of bonkers, but she was bonkers in a way that I was like, yeah, I mean, if I just kind of got injected into this crazy world, maybe I too would steal a grenade and go fuck up.
Yeah.
I definitely see where there was this conflict between progressive 80s ideals and just standard 80s ideals.
What the culture was.
Because there are these moments of, classic 80s iconism, of the convertible, the top down, the fancy cars, warring with the fact that, we talked about this in the episode Harper and I just recorded, the fantasy that we lean towards renewable resources instead of gravitating towards fossil fuels in the wake of the energy crisis.
I had same with all that. And my notes for the iconic moment, I basically wrote Carly, who I really like.
Yeah.
Carly is an iconic moment in and of herself.
Well, just like you said, like a capable, interesting female character. I did also put that one of Wheeljack's inventions kind of worked.
Fucking suck it, Wheeljack.
His inventions always, with the exception of whatever that bazooka was that exploded in his face, his inventions always work. It's just that he never really thinks out the testing. There's no safety measures in place, really.
There's no room for the consequences of his actions.
Right.
And I feel that's in character for Wheeljack to solely focus on his action.
He's always rushing to production.
Yeah.
They need a QA department, and they don't have one.
There's no QA.
I think that Wheeljack is a metaphor for the modern games industry.
As a non-gamer, I can't get that, but I'll assume there's a lot of shitty games out there.
there's only 100-hour work weeks for Rockstar employees.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how do you rate the Decepticon scheme here?
Oh, rate the scheme. I didn't even think about this. I knew it was coming, and I didn't think about it.
It's all right. We all
say
do it off the cuff.
A 6 or a 7, because I feel that their scheme here is mostly reactive, and the actual quote-unquote scheming they do is just highly trite. Like, they find somebody that the Autobots care about and decide to use them as bait. That's not very innovative.
Yeah. It is unusual in that the Decepticons are usually proactive, and in this one they're just like, I guess we'll steal that. And
that's kind of what I'm saying. It's kind of a weak scheme.
Yeah,
they're kind of just like, I guess.
I'm with you. I'll give it a 5.
Yeah,
ooh, that's higher than I would
Rough.
have expected. Caleb, any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I'm right there with you guys. I'll give it a 5. It's just in the middle. It's neither here nor there for me.
I guess the only reason I'm giving it higher than a 5 is that it is effective. They do successfully pick something that is bait for the Autobots, which I guess is not particularly, creative or surprising in that they pick a human.
Yeah. Also, to really think about it, without Carly, this would have been completely successful. They would have chosen all of them.
I'm going to change my rating. I'm going to make it higher. We talked about it 3 hours ago. I'm forgetting about them hiring a stripper cop to.
Oh, that's right.
You know what? That is justification for my 6.5.
Yeah, we're back to 10. I think we're at 10 now.
So I'm going to go
higher. They hired a human, which is out of their normal oof. The only other human they've really hired is fucking Arkaville.
Their sub scheme to find out what the Autobots were up to. That's by itself. I'd give it like an 8 or 9.
Our fan created sub scheme.
Yes.
We're really giving ourselves the high rating.
You know what? I'll settle for that. We've done the heavy lifting here.
The only thing I want to add to this is that we act as if nobody has blueprints or schematics to this. Everybody acts like the technology's gone. The Autobots don't have access to it. The Decepticons couldn't just create another one. I would have to assume in deconstructing this and then reconstructing it and making it better, somehow or another they have plans where they could easily make another prototype. Everybody acts like this technology is lost to the universe forever.
Yeah.
I've got 2 points for that. One is that on the Autobot side, I agree that it is heavily documented because we see Wheeljack paging through blueprints when he's talking to Carly. However, on the Decepticon side, I can kind of believe that they just like poked at it for a little bit and went, "This is fine." Because guess what? We actually never get any proof that they made it permanent. They might have just thought they made it permanent.
That's true.
Ironhide gets unfrozen before we get the like time delay.
God damn you and your facts. Data.
I'm here to dunk on Megatron.
Okay.
And to have a great time.
More Than Meets the Pod. And this is from the heart. This has been a lot of fun, and it's evidenced by the fact that normally we would be done recording 2 episodes by now, and we're just now coming to the close of 1 episode.
Yeah, we're 4 hours in.
So yeah, Caleb's like, I'm not recording in the next one. And I don't even know how Ryan actually where he is on time.
We'll discuss it.
but thank you for being on here. Anything you want to plug? Anything upcoming? All the social medias and where to get in touch with you and see your shit.
Well, first of all, thank you guys for having us.
Yes.
As far as upcoming stuff goes, we're busy planning our 1-year podiversary. We're not quite sure what shape that's going to take. We got some ideas. As far as where you can find us, you can find us on Twitter at MTMTPod, on Tumblr at morethanmeetstthepod.tumblr.com, and you can reach us at our email, mtmtpod@gmail.com.
You can listen to us on Apple, Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify. We're hosted on Libsyn, and you can pick us up on any third-party app that piggybacks off of Apple's downloads. In terms of upcoming stuff, the day that we're recording now, I actually have to get off this call so I can start editing very fast a quick mini-sode that we're going to put out for Prowl Week. Literally, it has to drop today.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
If you guys haven't heard of or partook in Prowl Week yet, it's
Nope.
just a week to celebrate Prowl.
Did you guys instigate this, or is it a thing that's been around?
So actually, a friend of the pod, Crimson Seekers, at Crimson Seekers on Twitter, several months ago was just like, I want to do something with Prowl. And it got like suggested about a Prowl Week, and they decided that Prowl Week was the thing to do. So they just announced the week of April 19th to April 25th was going to be Prowl Week.
Can I pop in here and take credit for that? Because I was the one that was like, hey, even if you don't do a Prowl zine, you can do a Prowl Week.
Nice.
So they just kind of put it out into the world, and so many people have responded to it. It's been incredible. As far as I see now, we have 2 official Transformers artists who have done work.
Yeah, Casey Collar and Andrew Griffith have acknowledged Prowl Week.
Oh, it must be 3 though, because Derek Wyatt.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, did art on TFA.
Wow.
Has now put out official Prowl Week stuff.
Can I take credit for one more facet of Prowl Week, which is that I said it would be really funny if it was the week of the 20th, so that you could have a 420 day.
This is coming out 2 weeks after Prowl Week, so if you haven't listened to this, go back and listen to the Prowl Week episode of More Than Meets the Pod.
It is fun. I'll say now, because this is going to be coming out after. All we pretty much did was rate Prowls across the ages, and then do ships from a hat, but only with Prowl.
Yep.
Nice.
Jesus Christ, you guys are so creative. I love the takes that you...
We're fan artists, like, through and through.
I loved the take on I can't believe we didn't touch on it, and if we did, I just forgot about it. The metaphor of Autobot Spike and adolescence.
That was wholly a goof. Yeah.
That has to be what they were going for, and we didn't pick up on that at all. And you guys did, even though it was a goof. There's so much depth that comes out of your commentary that I love getting as like this old person that has been watching it a million times over. Let me conclude.
If you want to get serious about it, there is like a phenomenon like among the LGBT community that we kind of as a whole experience our adolescence later than typical, because when you're in high school, most of the time, or not most of the time, but a good chunk of the time, like you are either closeted or you
don't even know,
have the means to express yourself, or you don't know. So once you get into your 20s, you're kind of in the space of, oh, like I have the independence to do whatever I want without fear of my parents. I have the independence to access communities that are out of my reach. And I have the self-confidence and the self-image required to know who I am. Just get serious for a moment.
No, but
That's great.
For
That's
real,
great.
I mean,
Thank
like,
you.
it's kind of a delay. You have a delayed adolescence, so to speak. Is that a kind of a way to think of it? Because of the fact that you are holding back for so long.
Just like this free pass to act like an absolutely insane person in your 20s, because suddenly, like, you can date whoever
You're
want.
free.
If you're lucky, you wouldn't have any kind of that high school attitude. And it is like, people can use that in a negative sense to talk about, queer people being predatory. But I choose to say that it's more of an embracing of the fact that we never really got to explore that shit in our teen years.
Ladies, thank you again. This has been so much fun. I can't wait to do it again. I really can't wait to meet with you guys in person in hopefully maybe Chicago. We haven't even talked about going to Canada, guys. Would you guys go to Canada? Does anybody have the opportunity to go to Canada this year?
I think if we're gonna go, we should go to Chicago.
Chicago at this point feels more realistic. Where we even us, like, we're just kind of
from
like
a COVID timeline sort of thing.
Yeah.
I agree.
In terms of our personal responsibility to our fellow people.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Do you guys have anything
It'll be
else?
nice also to do the whole con, because we were you guys got to be there for all of TFCon DC, I think, but we were there for essentially like a day and a half.
Yeah.
So hopefully if we go to Chicago, we'll be able to go for the entirety of Chicago.
Yeah.
Ryan and I were drunk basically the whole time in DC. Can I expect the same sort of behavior out of More Than Meets the Pod?
I wouldn't recommend it.
Well, I didn't have a single drink in DC, but that was because I was in the middle of a chronic illness flare-up.
Oh no.
Jesus. Okay. Well, hopefully
We'll figure it out.
you'll be well and drunk by the time Chicago comes around. Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Play, and TuneIn. And then Apple Podcast users and Ryan Jett, get on there and give us a review while you're at it. Follow us on all the social medias, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, APOD Decast. And there's the Twitter presence, AutopodDecepticast.com. Ryan, are you going to put anything up?
Yes.
Okay.
Highly relatable. I haven't put a single thing on the Tumblr since it started.
I'm not convinced anybody goes to our website to look at the stuff I put up there for the episode.
Oh, we'll have to check the analytics, because people go to the website all the time. The analytics prove it out. I think we're done. We're done. That's it.
Thank you guys so much for being on. It was a lot of fun. I'm really glad that we got to do this.
Yeah.
Oh, this was so fun.
This was great.
It was definitely a good episode.
Are you going to tell the delivery story on this one?
Or do you want to tell it now?
You can tell it now. The text.
Oh, yeah. I'll tell Aaron.
Okay, go ahead.
Ryan's heard it.
I have. He called me to tell me the story.
I called him immediately. All right. So I ordered some products for Andy for Valentine's Day from a local business. It's called Lavender Falls, and they sell lavender types of products. And the last time I bought from them, I tried to buy on their website and it was kind of wonky, and I told the guy on his email, I said, it looks like you're out of stock. And he actually texted me. He replied and said, just text me. It's easier if you order through me if you just text me. So I texted him and stuff, and we corresponded that way. And so this time around, I texted them again and said, do you want me to text you the order on your website? And they said, you can order on the website this time, it's fine. So I did that. Last Saturday morning, I'm driving to pick up my son from this kid's house that he spent the night with. And I get a text from them saying, oh, sorry, by the way, we didn't send you a tracking number, but your package is going to show up today. I said, great, thank you. And then after that, I picked up Harrison and was driving back to town, and I passed my parents. They were driving south, taking a road trip. And I said, Siri, send a text to my mom. And I said, what would you like to say? And I said, hey, did I just pass you in Highlandville? And then it sent. And some time went by, and I didn't get a text back. After about like half an hour, I was like, oh, I wonder if my mom sent me back a reply. And she didn't. And I looked at the text I sent, and it sent it to those people that I texted from the Lavender Falls people. And so it, to them it looked like I was like, thanks. And then me asking them if they just, if I'd just passed by them in Highlandville. And I thought, oh no, I don't. And so I sent a text saying, sorry, that was meant for my mom. Please disregard this text. And then I was like, well, I got to send a text to my mom. So, because I wanted to ask her same question. So I sent a text to Siri again, same question. And it went to it, for some reason, it went to those people again. So this time I did not say like, wait, no, something's wrong. Siri's sending it to you by mistake and I don't know what's wrong. And so I just left it lay and no one ever replied. But the text looks like me asking them like, hey, did I just pass you in Thailandville? Oh no, that wasn't for you. Hey, did I just pass you in Thailandville? Like a crazy person. So I sent it. I told that to Ryan later. It was a funny story.
No response yet.
No, we're just leaving all that alone.
And this guy is not your flower guy that you've just. You said you had a flower guy.
I got a
You're
flower
like
guy
on a one-on-one. You screenshotted a text conversation you had with him recently that was kind of weird.
I suppose.
Okay. I might have to go back to the archives.
Yeah. Yeah, I got a flower guy.
Yeah, I can get you flowers this afternoon.
Came in handy for Valentine's Day. Yeah.
Hey, did I just pass you on the way to Highlandville?
Sorry, that was for my mom.
Ryan made the suggestion I should just start sending them that text like every week.
Over and over.
It does seem like kind of like if I got that text twice, I would be scared.
Yeah.
I would be afraid.
Well, I don't want to.
That's almost. But then again, I'm not a normal person. I see danger everywhere.
So I just let it alone, and I'll probably never have text with them again. I'll just buy stuff from their website.
Bro Cells is the sponsor of Autopod Decepticast. Yes.